Rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, feeling gon' rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So
this is Layla Santinello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Layla Santinello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case.
well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Layla. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
What up, my beautiful people of YouTube and X? It's nice to see you this Friday morning, TGIF. If you are on Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories, a YouTube page, go up to the top. There is a new link. I need you all to go over there and sub up. So we're going to get started here just shortly. I wanted to take a few moments because, I come across things. Every now and again, I'm cleaning and I'm doing something. And then all of a sudden I just come across something and I got something here and I thought I would share it with each and every one of you. Good morning, November rain, followed by what are we going to call the real Me Too now? I mean, after her depleting the United States of tape, tape Nazi, tape queen, tape bin Laden. I don't know what do we call it? I'm sure what we call it. Anyways, good morning, Angie. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you this morning. November rain. I am Team Summer. It's nice to see you. And of course, I'm here. I'm Bullhorn Betty and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories and TC. So good morning to both of me. Jessica, it's nice to see you this morning. Sonia, our beautiful Sonia. It is almost too late. I think at this point, 3 days before Christmas might be too late to get those Christmas trees from Sonia, or those Christmas presents from Sonia under the tree if you order today. But you know what? New Year's is right around the corner, and I'm pretty sure everybody needs to match for New Year's, right? You guys are having a New Year's party. Don't get a shirt, get memorabilia, right? New Year's 2024, the Martin family, the Johnson family, right? Right? Get yourself a keepsake. What else do we have going on here? Where am I at? Mama Shell Bell, it's nice to see you. MJ, it's nice to see you. Bayou Babe, Ashley's World, good morning. Crystal Lynn, it's good to see you here. TL, good morning. May is up in the house. Nice to see you. So before we get started on our language of letting go, I was cleaning off the dining table, right? I got I'm starting to collect some stuff. I've been so busy. I haven't had time to clean. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, there's too much paper, right? Too much paper. We need to clean this up. The house is a hot mess. Wind and Whims Designs. It's nice to see you, love. Nice to see you. And so as I'm picking this stuff up and moving around, all this stuff just starts flying out everywhere, right? Just flying out everywhere. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And I'm like, oh, I remember this. It takes a little time. I can't help it. It does take me a little time. It takes me a little time, right? It does.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
So, and so I started getting this and I said, I always believe in signs and all this other stuff, right? You know how I feel. I believe in all these things. So even though you get something way back here, you'll lose it, right? And then it just makes its appearance back. It makes its appearance back when you need it. It's kind of weird like that. I don't know. I believe in these mystical signs out there and in the universe, right? I don't know why, but I always feel like I have this mystical sign out there in the universe, right? And so I pick these things up, and of course, they are. Absolutely. Who knew, right? Who knew? Sometimes, every now and again, especially when you're going through trials and tribulations, these little subtle signs that come from none other than God, even though this was sent to me by It's Me Jennifer, or It's Me Jen, right? Good morning, Pete. It's nice to see you. I forgot all about it. This is when she sent me her Samsung phone, right? I needed another phone to be filming out there in the wild west, right? And she has a phone that it was able to capture 6 and 8K on the phone. Great. She didn't want it. She sent it to me. Well, and it had a little letter in it. I'm not going to really read the letter because there's no need to read the letter, right? It's personal to me, but it was packed with all this stuff, right? It was just packed with all this stuff. So when you opened it, it kind of fell all over the place. May, calm down, May, calm down. We're getting there. We got to warm you up. Don't you know, May? You got to butter the bread. I'm buttering the bread here. Let me butter my bread, okay? Calm down, May. We love you, May. We love you. All right, May. I'm going to give it to you. Okay, so here's number 1. Today will be a great day. Today will be a great day, right? Live to travel. Live to travel. Kind people are my kind of people. She believed she could, so she did. Today is a good day for a good day. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, right? Choose happiness. Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Nevertheless, she persisted. Positive energy. And finally, never give up. Now, I am kind of superstitious at all. I haven't seen this stuff for months, right? Just happened to be out there cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the table. All this stuff just falls out everywhere. I don't know about you, but those are signs for me. Those are signs from God. And not only was that a sign of God, look at those beautiful messages. Now, you tell me, whenever you're having a horrible day and something like that falls in your lap, I have to say it does an attitude correction really quick. It's called an attitude with gratitude. And so I'm very, very thankful. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for your friendship. I love you. And even though you did a bone for me by sending me that phone, you have no idea that your gift actually carries forward, even to today, months later, and probably will continue into the future. So God bless you for that. God bless you for that. Today is December 22nd. Many of you know that I'm a prayerful person. I'm a godly person. And one of the things is I used to have a lot of problems. I had a lot of problems. Some that I caused myself, some I didn't cause myself. Childhood trauma, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole entire gamut, right? The whole entire gamut. And during my recovery, which, for all intents and purposes, I will never be recovered. That's one of those things that kind of sticks with you. It's like, an insulin pump. Once you're on it, you never quite get off of it. You know what I'm saying? So, that is what it is. But one of the things that really helped me, now, do I do life perfectly? Am I sitting up here, saying that my life, of course not. You guys see it displayed on YouTube. My life's far from perfect, right? I am far from not having problems. And sometimes I get even weak and do stupid shit, right? Make poor decisions that could affect me. But the one thing that has always been a good thing for me is the language of letting go. It's always kept me inspired. It always kept me centered. And I always find when I get away from it, it's when things start getting really, really funky. It's nice to see you, James. It's nice to see you, Mike. And I just think I saw somebody say hi to Huntress. Yes, Wind and Whim. If Huntress is in the house, good morning, love. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So December 22nd is Say How Sweet It Is. How sweet it is to be loved by you and you and you, right? So how sweet it is. Say how sweet it is. Let me get the glass. You know what? I buy glasses. They tell me it's one thing, one prescription, and I'm telling you, I'm blinder than they're saying I'm blind, okay? Or I'm losing my vision. Like my vision is just going downhill. I can honestly tell you at the beginning of 2023, I could see, okay? We are now at the end of 2023 and I'm blind as a bat, okay? I don't know what this means, okay? I don't know if this means I'm older than dirt or I'm just aging, but I can just tell you, I'm not feeling it, okay? This whole wrinkly, saggy crap. This crap's for the birds, okay? This crap's for the birds. I don't know how you older ladies do it, but now I'm starting to understand why you're so damn angry at 55 and 65. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. There's so much to talk about finding extraordinary love of our life. Maybe everything we need to know about romantic love can be learned from our friends. I don't know why I'm starting to move, but it seems like there's something not plugged in right. Hold on here. Let me make sure all my plugs are in. Because every time I turn around, it seems like this thing, maybe it's, I don't know. Oh, well. So we don't expect our friends to change our life and make everything that's wrong right. We just expect them to be who they are. And then we let them be that. It's part of being a friend. We don't expect to like everything about our friends. We know they have defects of character. They do things occasionally that irritate us. We don't expect our friends to entertain and amuse us. We keep laughing and smiling all the time. We let them go through their ups and downs. Sometimes we just sit in silence with our friends and we keep our thoughts to ourselves. We don't pick fights, create drama with our friends, just keep passion alive. Usually we do everything we can to avoid fighting with our friends. We want our friendships to be quiet, safe, peaceful, a haven in our lives. We don't expect our friends to turn our lives upside down, distract us from our path. Usually, if a friend attempts to wreak havoc in our life, we run the other way. We wouldn't let a friend hit us, and friends don't talk mean. If an issue comes up, we usually carefully weigh the best way to talk about the issues with her or him. We don't expect friends to be in perfect health all the time. We know that they will have issues to deal with as they walk along their own path. We encourage them. We pray for them. But we don't take their issues as our own. And we don't take it personally when they need some time to focus on their own personal growth. In friendships, one person doesn't hold all the power. So despite the differences in our lives, we try to relate as equals. We're tolerant of cycles in our friendship, knowing that in different times, each person has different needs, different experiences to go through. Sometimes there's more time and energy to devote to the friendship. Other times, there's less. We don't expect our friends to be at our side 24 hours a day. We have our time together and value that. But then we each go our own way. We don't try to force bonding with friends or even force the relationship to be a friendship too fast. We let ourselves go through experiences together naturally, knowing that that's how bonding takes place. I'm not an expert on marital love. We might have a better chance of finding love if we treated our lover like a friend. God, help me find the middle ground between unrealistic expectations and no expectations at all. Help me cherish my relationship and not confuse heavy drama with romantic love. Honestly, look at the expectations you place on romantic relationships or any relationships. Let's just take romantic out of there and just say expectations you place on relationships. Are you expecting a friend or a spouse to change your life? Or are you looking for a friend with whom you can share additional elements of, you know, friendship and not so friendship? I don't know how to read that. So I hope you guys got a message from that. I like to say friendship because, I'm not in a relationship. So really, but I do have a lot of friendships, and the friendships that I do have, that's exactly right. We're here, we know we're friends. We can talk to each other. We can let go. We can support each other. But then when the phone ends or the visit's over, they go on with their life. I go on with my life. And so what we don't want to do is I don't want to be taking the baggage of my friend and putting it on my shoulder because it's weighing me down when I already have the world on my shoulder as is. So what do? We support each other. We help each other through bad times with our abilities to help, right? So hopefully, I think that's a great message right before Christmas. I just really, I feel inspired. This Christmas season has already been amazing with so many gifts and so many miracles, including an 8-year-old child that now has a Christmas. Very, very thankful. But there are people that aren't having such a Merry Christmas. The Crystal Rogers family is one that comes to mind. However, they're receiving a Christmas miracle now, aren't they? Because even though with all the pain of their situation, they have good news. They have good news. After almost a decade of their loved one, they knew she was dead. They knew she wasn't coming back, but they knew who did it, but they couldn't prove it. And the person was still walking amongst them. Talk about adding insult to injury, right? So Brooks Howe was walking amongst them, and they knew he did something. They knew his family had knowledge that he did something, which I absolutely believe. Now, it's allegedly, but I still believe his entire family knew what happened. Maybe not the specific details, but they knew he did something with her, and she lost her life because of it. The whole entire family lied and obstructed justice for years. Then all of a sudden, around September of this year, a few months ago, after this case being dormant and silent, we received notification that the first arrest in the Crystal Rogers case happened. And that person was Joseph Lawson, a name that we didn't recognize. Now, we've heard the last name Lawson previously from us reviewing the interrogation / interview of Brooks Howe. That was the first time we heard of a Steve Lawson or Stephen Lawson, but never a Joseph Lawson. So when Joseph was arrested, we were kind of scratching our head and saying, who is this? And he was arrested for obstruction, or not obstruction, excuse me. He was arrested for tampering with physical evidence and conspiracy to commit murder. There it is. Conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. So that was the first one. And then like a week or so, timing, I don't know. It could have been a few days. It could have been a week. It could have been a couple of weeks. I don't know if it's that important to you. Do your own research to find the timing. But after Joseph Lawson was arrested, Brooke Howe was arrested. And Brooks Howe was the actual boyfriend of Crystal Rogers, which is who the whole entire family thought injured Crystal to begin with. And then as we're progressing, we're all talking about this case. This is kind of where we're at. A few months ago, Crystal Rogers, we know she was gone since 2015. I was just trying to get my head wrapped around the case. We learn of Brooks Howe. We have her Crystal's cousin in our chat explaining some things that they knew or what they knew that they could share that wouldn't, mess with the case. And then we just kind of get away from it and it dies down and we move on with Bryan Kohberger and the other gamut of high profile crimes that are going on around the country. Well, then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, out of nowhere, we hear that another Lawson is arrested in association with Crystal Rogers' case, and then we learn it's Steve Lawson, a much older Lawson, and this is a person that we do recognize because we heard his name come up in that interview interrogation with Brooks Howe. And so now we have, then after that, after his arrest, mainstream media linked Steve to Joseph, and Joseph is Steve's son. So now we have Joseph Lawson in jail, Brooks Howe in jail, and now Joseph's dad, Stephen, in jail. So at this point, we're diving in. I'm starting to say, okay, this is starting to get pretty big, right? So just a few weeks ago, we start really diving into this case. And the one thing that we noticed with this particular matter is Jason Ellis. This is a cop that was ambushed in that community. And every article that we're talking about seems to be related to, or relating the Ellis case to the Rogers and Ballard case, because Ballard, we haven't even got there yet. Tommy Ballard, which is Crystal Rogers' father, was doing his own investigation and coordinating search parties to find his daughter. He knew his daughter was gone. He wanted to find his daughter so she could rest easy. During that pursuit, he was shot on his property and murdered. Nobody was accountable for that. And we learned at this hearing with Brooks Howe just in the last few months that they believe Brooks' brother, Nick Howe, is the one that shot Tommy Ballard and killed him. So now you have potentially two Howe brothers that are accused of murdering people in their very small community of 13,000 residents. Then we start hearing about this Jason Ellis, and we're trying to connect the dots. How does Jason Ellis work on this or link to this? And so I spent days and days and days and hours and hours and hours and hours of research, and I could not find a link to nothing about. I could not find a link. And so I was doing some research, and then I came across this interview a few months ago from the police chief at the time, the police chief that was on scene when Jason Ellis died. And he kind of gave us a little preview into what happened in that investigation and some of the moving parts and what it was like those very minutes that they were approaching the scene and didn't really know what was going on, didn't know what happened to Jason. And so then after weeks, and I'm saying, I just can't find the link. Like, I'm going out, like very, very, very far out, like even into Lexington and just other places to see if there's any crime that's going on that the Houts could be associated with in conjunction with Jason Ellis's death. And I just could not find the link. Like, even the criminals that had been charged with these crimes, I tried to see if those linked back to the Houts or Jason specifically, and I couldn't make anything link. So when I got this, when I saw this interview with the chief and heard him tell us that if there's a connection, he hasn't found it, it dawned on me that, we've used this strategy before, primarily in the Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte case, where we attached them to Gabby Petito. And we attached them to Gabby Petito because Gabby Petito was a prime name that was being highly recognized. It was a national news story, and it was a way to attach these girls because, in fairness, Gabby and Bryan both saw these girls. These girls both saw them. They were fighting out in front of the Moonflower. So, the link of saying, could it be Bryan that's responsible for them, really did bring their case to national attention. So I think it might have been a strategy like that, where maybe they don't know or don't have the information for Jason Ellis, or they may have information that's leading a different way. But for all intents and purposes, it's an unsolved case, and they needed to have as much attention as possible. And maybe it's possible. There's a possibility they still link together by some other nefarious crime syndicate or crime activity, or, organized crime, because let's face it, I believe that Houck's mother looks like a freaking mafia mom. And I haven't been shy about that, but that doesn't, just because I feel it doesn't make it true. It's just an observation by the scowl on her face every time we see her in public. She just looks mean. And
So anyways, here's an update. I just wanted you guys to hear it. Shay's been really taking this and kind of driving home this this case, and thank goodness for Shay, because she's done a very good investigative investigative work on this case. What did I just do? Hold on. Sorry, give me just a second. I got something hit something.
Rogers' case, pleaded not guilty to his involvement in her death today. It was a packed courtroom and a very quick hearing, lasting just about 5 minutes. His attorney doubling down that his client wasn't involved in Rogers' death.
And he argued the immunity agreement. Apparently, he's got the attorney has all the records for that immunity agreement. So that's good. It's nice to see you, Mary. Rhonda, it's nice to see you as well.
Her family.
If for those people that haven't, at the very top, if you're in the crime stories side, at the very top, there's a link at the top. I need you to go over there and sign up for that that channel.
Says they're not buying
measure.
Commonwealth versus Stephen Eugene Lawson.
It was the first case on the docket in this Nelson County courtroom and lasted less than 5 minutes. Steve Lawson in an orange jumpsuit appeared on video from the nearby jail. Crystal Rogers' family.
And I heard that he is going to be, his next court hearing, he will be required to be there in person, not through that teleprompter.
From the back of the room, hearing the next time this suspect is in court, he'll be there in person.
What's it going to be like to look at him, to look him in the eyes when he's in this courtroom?
That just breaks my heart. That man, it just breaks my heart. He's watched his son and his I don't know, is this Sherry's parents or Tommy's parents? He kind of looks like Tommy. That's why I'm just assuming that this is Tommy's father, but I could be wrong. Thank you, Huntress. Thank you. But that just breaks your heart. He's been waiting a really long time. And we also learned that Tommy Ballard's sister, Sherry Ballard Barnes, also disappeared when she was 19, perceived to be murdered by her ex-husband. So this family has had its fair share of a major crime in it.
I don't say it'd be rough. I'll tell you. If I could get close to him, there would be the law hold me back.
Oh, well, you know, I think a lot of people understand that man's sentiments. I absolutely. Hey, Stacy, it's nice to see you. Did I say hi to you, Bayou Babe? I'm not sure if I did or not. If I didn't, good morning. B Betty fan, it's nice to see you. Let me make sure that if there's anybody else over here. Okay, there you are, B Betty. Let me go ahead and mod you. All right, there we go. All right, so you're over there on that channel as well. So Lady 7 Up, good morning, love. Good morning. So again, this man has gone through a lot. We see him at every search site. Every time he gets wind of them excavating something, them searching something, you see him and his wife in their pickup truck watching everything. They want answers. This has been so long for their family. The grief that this family is going through is just horrific. I can't even imagine. None of us could, really, in all fairness.
Steve Lawson is one of 3 men charged in this case, along with his son, Joseph Lawson, and his former employer, Brooks Houck. Lawson's attorney insists his client doesn't know anything about how Crystal Rogers died, saying his only connection to the case is his connection to Crystal's car, which was abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway.
I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that the reason why they charged Steve is because, yes, he did have an immunity agreement. I think that they were wanting to honor that immunity agreement. And I'm sorry, but I feel like if his immunity agreement tanked, it's because they found out he lied and that he probably is more involved than what he says. Guidance, if you're in the house, I just heard somebody say good morning to you. Can you go over to the other channels so I can mod you up, please? But anyways, like I said, I really have a sneaking, and I said this when we heard his attorney come out, because I know law enforcement's not trying to have the aha moment, but when they give you a sweetheart of a deal like immunity, transactional immunity, so you don't get in trouble for something,
you better be singing like a stinking bird, and it better be truthful, because they don't play. I mean, seriously, they don't play. You have to be truthful. You can't monkey around when you're dealing with immunity, even if you had a hand in it. But, usually the way the immunity works also is you're spinning them a story saying, hey, we're not doing anything wrong, or I didn't do anything wrong, right? So you're not. And then when you're telling them, so they're saying, well, if everything you're saying, this is kind of how it's done. If everything you're saying is true, then, and you put that truthful on the record, we'll give you immunity. Okay. Well, now he's stuck into that story. So now he's got immunity. Now he can't tell him all the stuff because his immunity is based on this limited effort that he had. I have a sneaky suspicion that both of these Lawson men were doing whatever they could to make their boss happy. They had some type of relationship with this man. I don't know if it was a drug relationship. I don't know if it was just a lifelong friendship where they just trusted each other over the years. I don't know what it is, but I'm just saying that Brooks Houck trusted Joseph and Stephen an awful lot. So there is definitely a stronger connection there than meets the eye. I'm about to hide you. One wrong button, Jen. One wrong button. I almost hid you. You'd have been mad. Like, what did you do wrong on the new channel, right? Right? If for those people, we have 120 people in chat. If you guys have not gone over to the new channel to sub up, please consider doing so. The channel link is at the very top of the chat bar right up here to get you over there and get you signed up on that new channel. It's just a precautionary measure. We're going to be running on there and building up our channel watch times and hours, like I said, as a precautionary measure. And at the end of all this, when everything's said and done, we'll have 3 monetized channels. I mean, who can complain about that? That is amazing. And we're up for the challenge and up for the task, right? So it's going to be great because we are the Coffee Club. And we start our stuff. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We are the Coffee Club. We are the Coffee Club. Hear me roar. Arg, right? Arg. Damn. Right on the heels of Christmas, too, right? Right on the heels of Christmas. I'm bad. So get over there, sign up. That might be our little spot that we have for a little moment, until this stuff gets worked out. Who knows? Either way, I can tell you that as far as me being concerned at this point, I'm absolutely not. We'll just leave it at that because at the end of the day, bullshit level, DEFCON 5. I knew it. I know. I got a whole bunch of buttons to push over here. I'm doing a damn good job. I am. Right? I love pushing some buttons. That ain't even bullshit. That's horseshit. There we go. Somebody says I ruined my channel by pushing all the buttons. I'm thinking, well, it is my channel, and if I'm getting satisfaction out of it, I mean, hopefully you guys are. But in all fairness, if you guys aren't, oh well, right? I'm laughing back here. I'm having a good time. I really am. I'm having a great time. So let's ruin the channel, shall we? That's for the people in the back. All right, let's get on with this.
Days after she went missing, her keys, phone, and purse inside.
He received a phone call from his son that he broke down. He went out there and picked him up, and there was a flat tire. Picked his son up, drove back to Nelson County.
Another lingering question here, immunity. Lawson's attorney says he has documents proving his client made a deal with police.
For his testimony, for his cooperation, for the times that he has been at post 4 with me and without me for the greater part of a year. he was offered immunity, and we're going to stand on that.
The Ballard family believes
Yeah,
Steve.
the only way they can really stand on the immunity thing is if he was truthful, right? I mean, seriously, if he was truthful. I have a sneaky suspicion he is more involved than many people want to acknowledge. I truly, truly, truly do believe it. Let's see where we are on our new channel here. Let's just see. Are we coming up on subs? That's the name of the game right now, right? 100 subscribers. All right. In 24 hours. Now, if we can get up to 1,000 subscribers in 48 hours, that would be absolutely, utterly amazing. That would be absolutely, utterly amazing. But you know what? It's in God's time, not ours, right? It's in God's time, not ours.
Lawson knows more than his lawyer is letting on.
I think he was involved 100% from day one.
And they don't think he'll be the last arrest.
As long as they get 3 more, we don't care how long it takes.
In an investigation.
3 more arrests is what the Rogers family is requesting right now. They want this. They want them. I know they want, because you got to remember, Tommy Ballard was also shot and killed. So they're going to want Nick on a plate. They're going to want Mafia Mom on a plate. Those people hold some damaging secrets, and they are all complicit in this. They're all complicit in the cover-up. All of them. Even great-grandma, right? Her grandma, right? I truly believe grandma is also complicit. Not just Mafia Mom, but grandma. It's like the Wells all over again, right? Like even in the Murdaughs, at least it was just Alec and a handful of his associates versus it being a family affair, I don't get it, but whatever. Let me get over here let me switch accounts real quick. I'm going to go over here and get Crystal Rogers' little video pulled up here for you guys. No, we want my channel. Channel. They keep moving the buttons on these damn channels. It's driving me nuts. So for those that don't know who she is, did I put it on this one or did I put it on my other one? Oh, I guess I did put it on the other one. Okay. I was in the right spot. Where is she? There she is. I got to put this on the other channel.
In the Crystal Rogers case, 2 of Kentucky's highest courts released big decisions today, both ruling against Brooks Houck. Houck is charged with murder in connection to the 2015 disappearance of Crystal Rogers. He was arrested in September and has been in jail on a $10 million bond since then.
Crystal Rogers is a mother of 5 beautiful kids that went missing on the July 4th weekend in 2015. Her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, came under heavy scrutiny about her disappearance back in 2015. Brooks Houck was later arrested after Joseph Lawson, and the case kind of died out. There was some major shocks in the case when the state prosecutor, Brooks Houck's hearing, tells the judge that his brother, Nick, might have been the one that shot Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard. If you're unfamiliar with this case, Crystal is a beautiful young lady that disappeared in 2015, and her father went out looking for her and searching. Well, during a hunting, what many thought was a hunting accident, he was shot to death. And apparently during this hearing for Brooks Houck, it was alleged that his brother Nick may have killed Crystal's father.
Waiting for testing to come back on the firearm we believe was used to murder Tommy Ballard, firearm that we purchased from Nicholas Houck, who was using a fake name.
This case has a lot of twists and turns, and that's not it. In 2013, an officer was ambushed. His name is Jason Ellis. And people are starting to feel that this Jason Ellis is connected to this particular case with Crystal Rogers and Brooks Houck. So now we have 3 people arrested in connection with the death of Crystal Rogers, although her body has not yet been found.
The Chief Justice ruling today, Nelson County Judge Charles Sims will be staying on the case, writing, quote, the defendant failed to demonstrate any disqualifying circumstance that would require the appointment of a special judge. Houck will stay in jail on a $10 million bond until his trial. His next court date is set for February of next year. In the Crystal Rogers.
There we go. So that's just Crystal Rogers. And that's really all I have for that. Now, we all know about a Sean Williams. He's kind of come up on our radar. We're not really paying a whole lot of attention to his case. As a matter of fact, we're just not. And Sean Williams he was an escapee. He's escaped federal custody, and they've just recently put him under. Oh, thank you, Stacy. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you for that. So they put him under, under this watchful eye of these sheriffs. Well, he tried to commit suicide. He went to jail because of child R and child P on his computers or phones. So this is a serious case, and he was on the lam for a while, and the U.S. Marshals went and rounded him up and put him back into custody. Well, he tried to commit suicide while he was in custody, and they had a whole litany of officers in there, and I believe we touched on it yesterday sometime, or it might have been the day before yesterday. I can't remember. Either way, this is some new information that I thought you guys might be interested in hearing. This is a little bit more of a touchier type of subject matter. So if those that have, child trauma issues about certain words, in all fairness, I digress. I know people are going to beat me up for this, but if you really have that many emotional issues related to some of these topics we talk about, I really would like to just say, maybe true crime's not really for you because it would trigger a lot of PTSD symptoms. This is no different. I don't give trigger warnings on my channel, and I'm not going to start now. It is what it is. If you can't handle it, then you need to acknowledge that you can't handle it and maybe not be on here. It's not my responsibility to be on eggshells when I'm talking about a case. Just, as insensitive as that is, I'm sensitive to your situation, but I still have a show to run. So just thought I would throw that out there. Sorry.
Federal detainee Sean Williams appeared in a Greenville federal courtroom earlier this afternoon, just days after a suicide attempt while in custody. I
forgot to tell you, he is a businessman. The reason why he came on our radar is because he's a businessman from Kingsport, which we've been doing a lot of cases. We have the Holland Snap case, as well as the Ladla Santinello case in Kingsport, as well as Summer Wells linking to Kingsport. So this is why this was in my news feed, is because of all the research I've been doing in Kingsport. And he is a businessman from Kingsport, and talk about ruining the rest of his life over some sick, twisted stuff. I don't know why men are getting so twisted and sick. I mean, these are our children. These children deserve to have a childhood, and damn the people that rob these kids of their childhood.
Top story here on First at 4. I'm Ansley Daniel. Williams is a former downtown Johnson City business owner who faces several charges, including child rape and child pornography production charges. Williams was captured back on November the 21st after escaping from federal custody while being transported from Laurel County, Kentucky to U.S. federal court in Greenville in October.
So again, he's escaped federal custody. He's done despicable acts to children. He's kept, obviously, I'm assuming trophies of that. I don't know what the digital images are, if it's of the child that he injured. I have no idea, but he's just a sick, twisted, you know what. And I pray to God he stays in jail for. Our children deserve better. Our children deserve better. All right, getting on with the topic of our conversation. What inspired this show? So I just read, as part of my research, that a 5-year-old
boy that went missing in 2003, I believe. I don't have my paperwork. It must be on my bed. 2003, 2002, 2003. I think it was 2003. It says right there, 2003 right there at the very top. I just got to look in 2003. And so in this particular case, they didn't know what happened to this boy, but they never found him. And they still charged his mother, as well as her boyfriend with the crime in 2003. So with investigative genetic genealogy testing, so what had happened is just in 2022, there were some remains that were found. They determined that the remains found had been there for a significant amount of time. So they apparently didn't have a whole lot to go on. They were probably confused as to who it was. I mean, think about it. Logan's case was so long, 20 years ago, that nobody probably was even thinking about him at the time that they found these remains. So long story short, they ended up getting a DNA profile. The investigative genetic genealogy testing was done. They were able to do whatever genealogy stuff that they were able to do. And they finally, I think that the reason why this is coming out, even though the bones have been found way back in 2022, the reason why, and I'm saying that this is scattered across, I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 or 7 articles up here that were just released in the last 6 hours. Related to this case. So it is making a lot of headway, because this case, the bones were found in 2022, but they just recently identified them as being Logan's. So I thought we would go a little bit back in time. This is the updated, this just came in yesterday, and this is from Carroll County, Virginia. And it says they have announced the remains of missing 5-year-old Logan Bowman, who was murdered nearly 2 decades ago, have been identified. In September 2022, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded. Let me put this up on the big screen so you guys can read along with me for those that are hearing and impaired. See if I can get this up just a tad bit bigger for you so everybody can read along. There we go. In September 2022, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to Iron Ridge Road in Galax for reports of human remains in a wooded area. As the investigation continued, officials determined that the remains had been in the woods for an extended period of time. With the help of Othran Inc., a private company in Texas that specializes in forensic-grade genome sequencing and forensic genetic genealogy, the company was able to develop a full DNA profile. This allowed authorities to use forensic genetic genealogy along with 2 DNA comparisons of family members. The remains were positively identified as Logan Nathaniel Bowman. Logan was 5 years old, who went missing in Grayson County area in January 2003. As the search for him continued, authorities charged his mother, Cynthia Davis, and her boyfriend at the time, Dennis Schermerhorn, in connection with the disappearance. As we previously reported in February 2023, Davis entered a guilty plea in Grayson County Circuit Court for 2 counts of child neglect and 1 count of homicide. The court records show that she was sentenced to 10 years for each count of child neglect, and the sentence was suspended. Davis also received a 30-year sentence for homicide with 15 years suspended. So she got a sweetheart deal. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says this is an ongoing investigation, and they anticipate new charges being filed. I don't know if they're going to be filing them against David, against Cynthia, or against both of them. So I did find this here, and this is the endangered missing person child alert that was provided back in 2003. January 7th is when he went missing. His date of birth is February 15th, 1997. Just a young boy, 5 years old. He was only 3'2" and 30 pounds, only 30 pounds. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Reported missing from Galax, Virginia. And it just simply says, this is what the information reads on here. Circumstances. The child was last seen at home January 7th, 2003, and is missing under suspicious circumstances. He has a healing fracture on his left arm from a previous injury. His teeth are decayed.
and he has burn scars on his feet. Golly, this poor boy. The judge says evidence is enough for charges. Neglect charges will go to the grand jury. Grayson County judge advanced the case against missing 5-year-old mother and her boyfriend. This is Independence. Testimony about a 5-year-old boy was fraught with conflicting stories and unanswered questions, but the judge found it is sufficient Monday to support negligent charges against the child's mother and her boyfriend. Grayson County Juvenile Domestic Relation Court Judge J.L. Tompkins certified felony charges against Cynthia Lee Davis and Dennis Schermerhorn to a grand jury. Davis and Schermerhorn are accused of twice neglecting Logan, first by not seeking medical care for hot water burns the 5-year-old reportedly suffered in January, and again by failing to act when he disappeared a short time later from the mobile home they shared. The boy has been missing since January 7th, and authorities fear he has suffered the fate far worse than neglect. But efforts to find Logan's body have been futile, as have attempts by police to obtain a clear account of his disappearance from the 2 people that saw him last. After not reporting the child missing for more than 2 weeks, both David and Schermerhorn claimed that the other had taken him from the trailer. Investigator Glenn Hyatt of the Grayson County Sheriff's Office testified Monday that Davis told him she freaked out on January 7th when Logan got up in the middle of the night and took a bath, burning himself so badly that his skin was peeling from his feet. Davis said she wanted to take her son to the hospital, but Schermerhorn persuaded her to calm down for a few minutes. First, Hyatt testified. She then fell asleep. Davis told investigators and was told when she awoke the boy was being cared for by Schermerhorn's mother, a nurse at her home. Interviewed by Hyatt a short time later, Schermerhorn told a different story. He said the day after Logan was burned, he woke up to find Davis, the boy and the car missing. When she returned the following evening, Davis said that Logan was with his father, Alvin Wayne Bowman, Schermerhorn told Hyatt. Davis also told police that she thought Logan had been taken to his father's from the home of Schermerhorn's mother, but Hyatt said his investigation determined that the child was never taken to Schermerhorn's mother's home. Still, defense attorney Jonathan Vinzi of Independence said there was no evidence that Davis did anything to her son. The fact that she doesn't know where the child is does not make her a perpetrator in his disappearance, Vinzi said. The lawyer also argued that only proof of Logan's injuries, description of his burns by 2 people with no medical training was not enough to show that he was denied necessary treatment, as Commonwealth Attorney J.D. Bolt alleged. The judge disagreed, noting that not only did Davis and Schermerhorn fail to seek medical attention for the 5-year-old, but they also made conflicting statements about the subsequent disappearance to anyone who inquired about the child. So they were giving different stories to different people. So you guys get the idea and the gist behind this particular matter with him. And this is, I was following this case. So not any time in the past, but, since these revelations came out, I did start digging in, and I did dig in a little deeper than I usually do because I wanted to learn about this case. And there really wasn't a whole lot of information on the internet because we weren't communicating on the internet back. I mean, we were mildly, but our internet in 2003 was in its infancy. It was only 9 years old at the time. So we were still relying on news articles and newspapers and newsletters coming to us by email as opposed to getting our news from news organizations online. The lack of a boy's body won't stop murder trials. In Galax, death looms early for Logan Bowman, who weighed 3 pounds and 15 ounces at birth. The premature infant's father, Wayne Bowman, remembers holding his son in the palm of his hand and dressing him in clothes from Cabbage Patch dolls. I called him my little miracle baby, Bowman said. 7 years later, Bowman was hoping for another miracle. Logan had been missing for a year. Repeated searches have turned up nothing, but his father still clung to hope that somewhere, somehow, Logan is safe. As long as they don't show you a body, you've just got to keep it in the back of your mind that the boy is still alive, Bowman said. Authorities are not so optimistic. They have filed murder charges against Logan's mother, Cynthia Lee Davis, and her boyfriend, Dennis Schermerhorn. Sorry. The two who repeatedly last saw the 5-year-old in their mobile home on the outskirts of Galax. Davis told authorities that on January 8th, Schermerhorn took her son after he suffered hot water burns and left him in the care of relatives, according to earlier testimony. But Davis waited until January 26th to report Logan missing. By then, Schermerhorn was telling police that it was Davis who left with the boy and returned without him. Hampered by confusion and delay, investigators stared cold down at the trail that would soon lead to Grayson County's courtroom. Trial for Schermerhorn and Davis, scheduled for February 13th and March 18th, respectively, will raise questions rarely posed in a Virginia courtroom. Can someone be convicted of murder when there's no direct evidence, a corpse, that a murder was committed? It can be an autopsy photograph of a bullet-riddled body, or a chilling testimony of an eyewitness, or perhaps a confession from the killer. In most murder trials, one thing is obvious: someone died. But proving that what is given in most cases could be the greater challenge for Grayson County Commonwealth Attorney J.D. Bolt in the upcoming trials for Davis and Schermerhorn, according to the interviews with lawyers, prosecutors, and law professionals. Under Virginia law, every conviction requires proof of corpus delicti, and that's a Latin term for body of a crime. Corpus delicti is essentially proof of criminal act, whether the body of a murdered man, the signature on a forged check, or the charred remains of a house burned down. But the prosecutor need not show a corpse to prove corpus delicti. In a murder case, courts in Virginia and elsewhere have ruled as long as they establish through convincing circumstantial evidence that the person was killed. A jury may properly take into account the unlikelihood that the person would appear voluntarily, the disappearance being circumstantial evidence entitled to the same weight as bloodstain and concealment of evidence, the Virginia Supreme Court ruled in the case of Stephen Epperly. If you guys remember, we always talk about direct evidence as well as circumstantial evidence. And I try to explain to you, everybody's like, oh, well, it's just a circumstantial case. And people are so ignorant to say that, because circumstantial cases win all the time in our courtrooms across this country. Circumstantial cases are a lot. You know, this whole idea that it's just circumstantial evidence, no big deal. Well, that's the problem of many people that are sitting behind bars right now, because it's just circumstantial evidence. Well, that's circumstantial evidence. Just put them behind bars. And why they're behind bars right now, they took that circumstantial evidence for granted. And as you read it over and over again, and across all the courts across this country, that circumstantial evidence is just as powerful as bloodstain, as DNA. It's just as powerful. They have to, once it's entered as evidence, that evidence has as much weight as a bloodstain. So this idea that it's just a circumstantial case, well, that's the ignorant party saying it's just a circumstantial case. Well, there's a lot of people behind bars for these circumstances.
This is only a test.
You guys might want to turn down your you can beat me later. And as a matter of fact, while we're in the mood, we might as well, hold on, there we go. Get our sounds. Get us in the mood. What? He is. If they are fighting, I think they are fighting, but you know, I mean, they ended up laying down. I think is what it comes down to, because the mom eventually signed a plea deal. There we go.
Epperly was found guilty in 1980 and was sentenced to life in prison. Excuse me, I'm having hiccups this morning. Excuse me. And you can barely see that print. Hold on here. There you go. There you go. So this is where we are right here. So Epperly was found in 1980 and was sentenced to life in prison for murdering a Radford University student whose body was never found. It was the state's first murder conviction in which there was no body, no eyewitness, and no confession. Still, the lack of body makes the prosecutor's job much tougher. And as you hear, much tougher, but not impossible. They didn't put that in the article, but I'm just letting you know. It's not impossible. It adds an additional level of practical difficulty, said Ann Coughlin, a professor of law at the University of Virginia. The prosecution is going to have the burden of presenting evidence that explains the absence of a body, as well as going on to establish the accused committed the murder. Just because someone is missing, jurors might think, doesn't mean he or she is dead. How many people wrote off Tom Hanks in Castaway? Salem Commonwealth attorney Fred King said, that's obviously a Hollywood version, but there are many cases in which people drop out of sight for a number of reasons. The key for prosecutors is to find enough circumstantial evidence to prove murder in the absence of a body. Epperly's case shockingly called witnesses to testify that the victim, Gina Hall, as a shy woman unlikely to accompany the defendant to a Claytor Lake cabin where prosecutors say she was beaten to death after refusing to have S. And it was equally unlikely that family members testified that Hall would just disappear and cut off all contact with her loved ones. So these are circumstantial evidence that is proving that this person didn't disappear on their own. The case was bolstered further by the discovery of Hall's bloody clothes. And when tracking dogs led police from Hall's car to the doorsteps of Epperly's home 2 miles away, the defendants infamously remarked, "That's a damn good dog." Even with evidence, Shockley was confronted with a dilemma that all prosecutors face in murder cases with no bodies. What if he took the case to trial only to get acquitted or a lighter sentence? Then Hall's body was later discovered along with other crime scene evidence and strengthened the case against Epperly. Double jeopardy would prevent a second trial. That always is a risk. So they have risks and stuff related to that. We know that she ended up getting a plea deal. Let me see what this one is. Sure, it's probably jammed up, as always. Okay, we'll just move on. I don't have time for it. And I think that's really it for my information on that. The mother, this is what I found out. I can't find out, and again, I pulled up some newspaper articles. Let me see if I can pull that. I sent those to me this morning. Let me see if I can pull these up. Open. Because there really wasn't a whole lot of stuff online. And so I had no choice but to go to some newspaper archives to see if there was anything I could find related to this case. And I did end up finding stuff related to this case, but it was only a few articles. It wasn't anything spectacular. So here's one, and it says, search coming up empty in hunt for missing boy in Galax. A search of a wooded area near the home of missing Grayson County boy came up empty over the weekend. Fire, police, and rescue officials were joined by volunteers in the second large-scale search for 5-year-old Logan Bowman since he was reported missing January 26. He was last seen on January 8th. We have some reports that said he was last seen on January 7th. So I would say at this point, it's either January 7th or January 8th. I don't know, and I don't think anybody else knows either. About 120 searchers combed an approximate 6-acre area around the mobile home park where the boy lived with his mother, Cynthia Lee Davis, and her live-in boyfriend, Dennis Schumerhorn. And I think that was it. That was it for that one. And then this one's a little bit more. And this one's about her, the boyfriend and the mother. A grand jury on Friday indicted a mother
of a missing 5-year-old boy and her boyfriend on charges of felony homicide, even though the boy's body has not been found. Cynthia Lee Davis and Dennis Schumerhorn are being held in New River Valley Regional Jail in Dublin. Grayson County Sheriff Jerry Wilson said no new evidence has surfaced in the case of Logan Bowman, who has been missing from his home since January 7th. See, so depending on who wrote the article, he's been missing either January 7th or January 8th. I don't think anybody really knows what day he actually went missing. We've been preparing this for a while, Wilson said. In April, a grand jury indicted the pair on two counts each of felony child neglect. One of the charges stemmed from the failure by David and Schumerhorn to seek medical care for Logan when his feet were burned badly the night before he disappeared. The other charges stemmed from failing to take action after his disappearance. Davis reported him missing January 26th after Logan's father, Wayne Bowman, threatened to call the police. Davis has told police that she thought Schumerhorn took Logan from the home on January 7th for medical treatment for his burns while she slept. Schumerhorn told them he thought Davis took the boy. So a bunch of nonsense going on, in this particular story. So the one thing I noticed that I could not find is what the results were from the court action. What were the results from that court action? Was it we know what Cynthia's plea deal was, but we never heard anything about Dennis Schumerhorn. I kept looking. I even did searches for him, and I can't. I'm going to end up having to go to the Pacer system and try to pull it up and read through the court case. But I can't find any articles specifically related to Dennis, or I think that's his name. What was his name? Dennis, or whatever his name was. Schumerhorn. Whatever Schumerhorn's name was. Dennis Schumerhorn. Cynthia Davis and Dennis Schumerhorn. So we know what Davis's sentencing was, and we know that hers was, reduced significantly. She had suspended sentences for the neglect charge and only in 15 years. Oh, hey, PJ, it's nice to see you. Go to the very top of this page. Go to that top in that link and sign up for that YouTube page. Did I not put you as a moderator, Pebbles? Here we go. On that page. There we go. I think we got everybody. If I missed somebody, let me know. Thank you guys that are going over there. We're going to need to get the watch time built up on this channel as quickly as possible on the new channel so we can get it monetized as quickly as possible, folks. So we'll be working on whatever's going on with these channels. Until anything happens, we're still going to be running on here. So we'll just let the process, we got to go through the process that it is, but I'm pretty sure these people are going to have unintended consequences from this, but I digress. Either way, we're back on, but I couldn't figure out what the boyfriend got. What was his sentencing? Was he convicted of the crimes, or was just Cynthia the one that did the crime? That had the plea deal. So I don't know. I tried to look. I really did before this segment, and I couldn't find one way or another. So I apologize about that. I really don't have an answer. I don't even know if the mother's been released from jail. Remember, this was so long ago. She was serving a 15-year sentence. I believe that she possibly is already out of jail and living life, but they found him. And according to law enforcement, they're planning on more charges coming. I don't know what they're going to be able to do with. I can't imagine what they can possibly do with Cynthia at this point, because in all fairness, she had a plea deal. I don't know if that plea deal prevents them from, has double jeopardy attached. Are they going to try to now go after her for first degree murder? I don't know. I don't know. We've got to monitor the situation, but I truly don't know. And I'm going to be watching it because I'm curious. I mean, this is stuff that we need to know. I don't know. So I'm going to watch the process, how it unfolds, so we have knowledge of it for the next case. So Colton County, we all know about Becky Hill. We know the whole Alec Murdaugh saga and everything like that. We were out there. We followed the case. I've been out at Buford at the bar that Paul Murdaugh was at. I've been at all of the grave sites. I was disheartened to learn that after all this time that the richest and most powerful family in Colton County cannot put a headstone on Maggie or Paul's grave. It disgusts me. It disgusts me that I am sitting here all these years later, all of these years later, and those two people that lost their life at the hand of somebody that they trusted and the whole community trusted, and the family can't even get them freaking headstones. The richest family. Like I would be, the Murdaugh name is garbage to me. If you say your name is so-and-so Murdaugh, I'm almost going to want to spit on your shoe at this point. Because the disrespect, the utter disrespect to Maggie and Paul just keeps going and going and going. And it's all at the hands of the Murdaughs. Now, people may say, well, why doesn't her family? Her family is well-to-do. I'm sorry if a Murdaugh murdered my sister and nephew. I am not going to be putting a headstone with the Murdaugh name on their site. I understand her family side. What I don't understand is the Murdaugh side. She was a Murdaugh. She raised two Murdaughs. And you can't even fork over. Buster, $500,000 in your coffers, and you can't even put a freaking headstone up there for your mom and brother. Okay. And then they're going after Becky Hill. So we're going to take a few moments. We're going to go through this whole statement. It's going to probably show.
Making music doesn't have to be expensive. Save big on Fender, Boss.
He has released thousands of pages of internal emails written by embattled clerk of court Becky Hill. Her role in the Alec Murdaugh trial has become the center of a saga all in its own right.
Murdaugh's attorneys accused Hill of jury tampering in their request for a new trial, which is still pending. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division has also charged Hill's son with wiretapping, though it's unclear if those two cases are connected.
Investigative reporter Blair Sable spent today combing through those emails by Becky. And Blair, what did you find out?
And listen to this. You know, when we were talking about this case and the whole, she used her office, I never thought about this. And this is what we're going to learn as they're talking about this. You remember how she was talking about she would be there in the trial and she would take notes. And then at the end of the day, she would draft her notes and then send them off to that guy that she's writing this book with, that they decided to do this collab on this project, right? So I'm just like, okay. I never thought about it this way, but the way it's alleging here, now that I hear it from being explained, it seems like that is the part where she was utilizing her office inappropriately, because she was being paid to be the clerk, and here she is handling her own personal business on company time. I think that's where they're going, which seems very low and petty to me, but they are county employees. They have to do their job. You can't abuse your office. These are things that we would be highly upset. I'd be highly upset if it happened in my own community. I kind of get it, but I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill so far. Okay, there's been a lot of stuff that has changed. I get it. So I'm just, you guys are watching me go through the process. Today, I think she did it. Tomorrow, I may think she didn't. All right, we're going through the process.
Out.
Plan and Ross, since the accusations against her went public in September, Becky Hill has stayed quiet about it. But in emails to supporters who have reached out since, she promised one thing: the truth is coming. Her truth. She also had very strong words to say about Alec Murdaugh's team, who accused her of swaying the jury in their client's case. In one email to a journalist, she wrote, quote, "Remaining quiet has been both a positive and negative thing. However, remaining quiet has also given so many the impression that they can go on believing the lies that have been set forth by Dick and Jim.
I have to be honest with you. I think sometimes we're taught, to rise above, ignore it, move on. But the problem is when you ignore it and don't address it, it manifests itself. You take one misrepresentation. We played the telephone, that very educational telephone game that we learned in school, and you see how the information was manipulated by the time it gets all the way to the person at the other end. So we know that this is true. And I have to believe, I'm not sure if I believe. I think they're grasping at straws to blame her. But you know what? With this whole ethics stuff, it doesn't look good. And maybe that's the design of it as well. But we'll find out.
Every single word they have uttered has been lies. How do lawyers, senators get away with something like this? It's just corruption. And sadly, many people don't want the search for truth. I have a lot to say. Now, there is also an email from photographer Melissa Gordon, who Becky Hill worked with on her book, Behind the Doors of Justice, telling her that they've unpublished the associated website and made the Facebook fan page invisible to non-members. Gordon writes they could delete it, but that would look bad. And
I don't think they should delete it. I think, and on all honesty, with all this litigation, I don't think it would be a smart thing for them to really do. But you get the gist of it. Obviously, the woes of Becky haven't died down yet. But it's a process. It's a process, and we have to trust the process and get to the end of the process, right? Because the end of the process is the solution. Really? It's the solution. Many know that Bryan Kohberger, right? Bryan Kohberger is he was trying to go in there to have his indictments thrown out. And the judge upheld the indictments. That his attorney was trying to make the standard much higher than it was. I don't know which ones. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. I got something going on here. Hold on a second. It's always the Fox News stuff that does that shit. Drives me nuts. So Bryan Kohberger, he was denied his right to have the indictments thrown out. They weren't going to have it, and it was a weak argument, anyways. Jury instructions. I mean, come on. This is it's a grand jury. They have like literally step-by-step instructions that they literally read from. So I can't imagine them making horrible mistakes at the grand jury spot. But you never know. You never know. They could make mistakes, and there has been mistakes in the past. So you do have to look at every single thing related to that. Let me get this. There we go. So they filed this motion. We learned that, sorry, I was reading something. We learned that he had the motion, it was denied, and now the trial has been set. They have set the trial for the summer of 2024. Do we actually think that it's going to go through? I mean, I don't know. I personally don't know if it's going to go the summer of 2024, but now we have at least an idea of when his trial is going to take place. It's been a long time coming. By the time he's there, we said about 18 months to 2 years as to when he was going to go to trial. So I'm very interested in this. It looks like they are pushing it back as far as possible. This is a very complex case with a lot of moving parts and a lot of challenges, as you can imagine. It's a death penalty case. Both sides are going to be fighting with every ounce of being that they have. And that is exactly what we want. That is exactly what we want. It helps them. Why does this thing keep pausing? I'm having issues. I don't know why these things keep not. I got to figure something out. I don't know what the hell's going on with this computer. About time for me to buy another one. That's all I got to say. When I start getting to the point where I'm frustrated and we have like 5 or 6 back-to-back lives that have nothing but problems in it, then I've got to look at the equipment that I'm using. I mean, just period. It's just, we don't have problems, and then boom, we start having problems in 1 week. Either way, we're on the campaign to try to help the families of of the victims that Bryan Kohberger killed. We're trying to help them keep the house up. The house is coming down. We are trying to, I don't think anything's going to work. I think that the university's minds are made up. I don't think they give a damn about the students that lost their life. It's all about money. I don't think that they are really considering the damage that they're doing to the case or the family. And maybe they're not doing any, but it's the potential damage that they could be doing, right? We don't know what the jury's going to want them to do, but they don't care either. And that's the problem I have, this insensitivity from this university that is more concerned about their budgetary issues than they are about 4 lives that were lost on their watch. And I said it. Lost on their watch. These children were under their jurisdiction, they were under their care, and they failed. No matter how you look at it, it's not the university's fault that this mass intruder came in and brutalized them. I get that. But it is their fault that this house is being torn down before the trial. Meanwhile, we've got the FBI going in there. We've got the defense going in there. Hell, we even have the prosecuting attorney, Bill Thompson, going in there. Clearly, this home still has value. Clearly, this home still has value for this case. So what gives? That's what I would like to know. What gives? I'm at acceptance with this whole process, with the house being torn down. I'm at acceptance with it, but I still think it's wrong. Personally, I truly think it's wrong to do to the families. It's wrong to do to the victims. We are all in agreement that it needs to come down. I mean, the university's not getting fights from anybody that it needs to come down. We're all in agreement that it needs to come down. I just would like the opportunity for the jury to see the home, to get the feel of the home, to have the vibe of the home, to look wherever they need to look at the angles that they need to look at, to see what they need to see. It's their right, and they should be afforded it. And what happens when they do need it? Or if they did screw up? Because right now they've got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, but what happens if we're in week 2 of the trial and something comes up and they're like, oh crap, what then? It happens. It happens all the time. What then? But on the flip side of this, we have to look at the reality of the situation as well, right? So I say it needs to stay up. But let's look at the reality. Does it need to stay up? Me personally, yes, it's the biggest piece of physical evidence. That is my standing on it. But can they accomplish this a different way? I believe they can. And I think that's why, and that's exactly why I know that the university is done with the house. They're tearing it down, whether the family likes it outside, short of a court order, it's coming down. And the reason why is because they have a path forward still, even without the house, because it is my belief, and I'm fairly confident that that I don't know this for a fact. This is just a gut feeling. This is a hunch that when the FBI went in there, they went in there with their 3D imaging. This 3D imaging software is amazing. It really is. They set up several different cameras, and it does 3D imaging or 2D imaging of the entire scene. And not only that, but it's so ultra specific that you're literally capturing it as it is. For example, if they actually brought that equipment in when they were all, the kids were all where they were positioned, they would be able to capture their exact position inside that home with these cameras. So it really is a digital, a real life digital rendering of the crime scene. So there is that, you know, in all reality, does the jury need to go in there? In the reality, in the grand scheme of things, no, they don't. They don't have to. But that's not what's on the table. It's whether they want to. You know, do they need that in order to give them the conviction that they need, in order for them to have it in their heart, mind, and soul that this man did it so they can give him the death penalty? If somebody needs to go in that house to make that decision to take that man's life, by God, we should give that jury member that decision and that right and opportunity to do so. This is a very significant and serious charge that can take Bryan Kohberger's life away. So we want all the jury members to be able to make that decision with a clear heart and mind. And we don't know what is going to be needed for that jury member to make that fateful decision. I mean, let's face it, these 12 members of the jury are deciding whether Bryan Kohberger lives or dies. That is a very serious decision that has rested on 12 people's shoulders. And some people just may need to see something, feel, see, touch something in order to take a man's life away from him. Because I know for me, if I am the one that's deciding another person's life, whether they get to breathe or not, I take that seriously. I take that very, very seriously. And I want to make sure beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond all possible reason, beyond a reasonable doubt, that that person is the one that committed that crime. And I don't know, sitting on this side, without being presented with the case from the prosecution, if I need that house or not. I personally don't know. He may say something and it may be clear as day and don't need the house. He's guilty. It's so overwhelming. He's guilty. Let's move on. But what if it's not? Because this is a criminal trial, a death penalty trial, and there's a lot of unknowns. And that's what terrifies the families. That's what terrifies all of us. We think they're confident, but there is no slam dunk case. We've seen it time and time again. Look at O.J. Simpson as one of the most prolific cases where everybody in America thought this man was guilty. We all stood there with our TVs and watched this trial unfold, watched the witnesses, the evidence be submitted, listened to witness testimony. And the majority of America believed this man was guilty after hearing all of that, except the jury. And the jury acquitted that man. That is the one thing we do not want to happen. We do not want Bryan Kohberger acquitted. And while they may be dotting their I's and crossing their T's and thinking it won't happen, what if it does? And the damage was done by the university that promised to protect these kids while they were on their watch. I'm highly upset. I'm hurt. That's just me. And I'm not even these kids' family. And I'm upset. I can tell you that. I am highly upset about this decision. I think many of us are. What else do we have here? Apparently, going back to Alex Murdaugh, I apparently had these out of order. I forgot all about the former Chief Justice overseeing the Murdaugh. They pulled a retired judge
out to oversee this new motion for new murder trials. The South Carolina Supreme Court has appointed former state chief justice to preside over the motion for the new murder trial of Alex Murdaugh. The court selected Jean Hoffer Toll to oversee Murdaugh's motion. And from what I hear, she's amazing, and she is a very seasoned retired judge that takes her role very seriously, and that's what we like. All right, guys, I hope you learned something. I didn't really read a whole lot in chat. I am doing a lot of studying here. I'm doing a lot of research here, and I need to get back to it. We will be back here at 12:30. I don't know. I think I'm going to cancel the 6:30 evening show until after Christmas. But we will be back here at noon. We'll figure out how to keep our noon schedule going. For all that are just tuning in and watching this, you are going to need to go over to the new channel and sub up as a precautionary measure. If you don't know what it is, it's literally pinned at the top of the chat here on the Crime Stories channel. Get over there. Make sure you sub up. And for those that, hold on one second. Let me go ahead and just put this up here in the chat so I can put it up on the screen for the replay crew. Okay. And there's the new channel. We just need to make sure right there. There's the new channel. It should be Bullhorn Betty, Bettie, right? Bettie instead of Y, Bett and TC. So it's Bullhorn Betty, Bettie, True Crime. So if you guys go over there, sign up. We may have to go on that, but we're definitely putting fail-safes in place right now as we walk through this process. I will tell you it's going to be a process if he chooses to do this. I hope he plays the tape through and realizes he's monkeying with a federal system to wield them as a weapon. And he thinks he's got grounds, but to be honest with you, this is where they're going to have problems. It's malicious prosecution. They're coming after me for something somebody else did. As media, once something is in the public eye, I have the rights to fair use. They're trying to say I put it in the public eye when I did not. Her actual legal, lawful copyright claim is actually with Trish. And they're not suing Trish. They're suing me in an effort to take my channel. So this is malicious prosecution. I hope that they understand that this is a federal court and they will not play. I hope that this was just a joke and that he does not go through the process. But if he does, we're just going to have to deal with it one step at a time. But I promise you, just don't worry about me. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. You don't need to worry about me one bit, not one little bit. We will go through the process. If the channel comes down, you need not worry about it. It will come back up. I do guarantee that. Once this process is over, it will be back up. It will be totally, fully reestablished. And there will be a lot of people in a lot of trouble. So we're just going to go down this process and just do what we have to do. I can tell you that everything that I can possibly do to protect myself, protect my channel, protect my finances, as well as protect me professionally and personally has been done. Okay? It has been done, and everything is being taken very seriously. So with that being said, I just want to let you know, we'll see you back here at 12:30 as we talk about Kelly Siegler. If you guys haven't heard, we're going down this whole article that's a really biased article about our favorite true crime prosecutor, retired prosecutor, Kelly Siegler, which is on the Cold Justice series. It was something that I loved and enjoyed watching. I loved them solving the cases. I loved seeing the process behind the scenes. It was fun. It was educational. And we got to see them take a lot of bad guys off the street. So when I read this article kind of impugning the character of Kelly Siegler, I was a little offended by it. So I had to take my emotional hat off and put my Bullhorn Betty hat on and get through the article. And there are some things in part that I agree with that can be expanded on. And there are lots of parts in this that are biased and I don't agree on. And I think that they're really, really going out of their way to misrepresent to their audience the story of Ron Pribble Jr.
and I'm going to call him Mr. P because I can never pronounce his name right. I don't know if it's Preble. I don't know. I don't know how to properly pronunciate it. I'm probably pronunciating right with Pribble, but I don't know, and I want to be accurate. So we're just going to call him Mr. P moving forward as we talk about this case. And so far, where we left off yesterday is that we're up to the neighbor raising his garage, smelling the smoke, and seeing the house engulfed in flames. And he goes over there, kicks in the door, sees this neighbor dead on the floor of the garage. And as he's there, first responders, firefighters are on the scene, and they're coming into the house and make the grisly discovery that not only is Steve dead, but also his girlfriend is partially nude, set on fire, and has a bullet in the back of the head. So there's a lot going on here. And then Pribble, he said he went home, didn't have anything to do with it. They believed his story, but they decided out of an abundance of caution to go ahead and give him a polygraph test. When he was provided the polygraph test, he failed miserably. And so they questioned him, they put him under oath, and they questioned him again. And of course, that's when he made the revelation that him and his friend Steve's girlfriend were having this love affair and this tryst, and they just had sexual relations just before everybody died, when they came back from the bar. Well, according to this article, where we left off yesterday was that all of her friends, the girlfriend's friends, say, wait a minute, there is no way she's having any tryst with this Yahoo over here. This guy creeped her out. She didn't like him. She literally wanted him to leave her home and never come back. That's what they were telling law enforcement. Meanwhile, Pribble is telling them that they're having this love affair, and they just had done, some activity when they got back from the bar right under Steve's nose without his knowledge. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because if you read the testimony of Martinez, they weren't home that long. They had just gotten back from the bar, they smoke a J, and Martinez goes home. So you're telling me that now Pribble is going into the bathroom while Steve is outside. It takes a little, it's not like you go in there, you touch it, and everything's all, let's get back to work, right? It takes a moment. You can't tell me the man's not going to be curious as why this man's taking so long in the bathroom with his wife in there or his girlfriend in there. It doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense. It stinks to high heaven. So that's kind of where we left off yesterday, was at this. The suspect is now finally told law enforcement that he has this sexual relationship with one of the victims. So we're going to be coming back today. We're going to dive into the case a little bit further. We're going to make sure that you have the know of what's going on, because this article is so tainted with misinformation, and it's so lopsided and one-sided toward the criminal of this crime. They're not actually talking to the audience about the fact that he really committed this crime. He's went to the appellate courts. The appellate courts have denied it. He's tried to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has denied it. He's had his day. The court system, as well as those jury, believe they got the right guy. But this article is trying to impugn Kelly Siegler's reputation based upon this horrific criminal that did horrific things and was caught doing so, even though he thought he was slick. So that's where we're at, guys. Don't forget to go on the new channel, get those numbers up. Please watch the videos. I'm going to be dropping more videos in there. They're going to be same videos that we've already previously watched, but I need to get the watch time up there. So if you guys want to give Bullhorn Betty a Christmas gift this year, my Christmas gift is watch time and watch hours over there on that new channel. Let's get that channel built up and monetized as quickly as possible, so we can put these people, this whole thing, to bed and just let the process go as it's going to go, so we can get to the end of it as quickly as possible and have whatever needs to be done. And that's kind of where I'm at this moment. So God bless you. Don't forget to rock it out with your coffee beans out. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, I ask that you be safe and kind to one another, especially in the comment box below. We say no to online bullying and harassment here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, and we will always, always, always do our part to fight it. God bless you and have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you back here at 12:30.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.